Yep, there's the thumbnail. So, basically, happy Sunday, everybody. My name's Liam. Welcome back to the show. Talk about everything from women to money to women to fighting to anything of that sort. You know, everything guys like. Sorry, I'm eating a bagel right now because I'm about to go to Open Mat, which, if you're not familiar with jiu-jitsu, it's an hour and a half of straight fucking sparring. So those sessions are usually pretty draining. And all I had for breakfast this morning, earlier on around 6, was some eggs and some Greek yogurt, which is what I pretty much eat every day. So I'm also kind of sick. As you can tell, my voice is fucked. But this is for that quick energy. You hear me? I just need some carbs, so I was like, fuck it, this is bread. I might have to edit this one because I know there's a lot of pauses with me eating this shit. I started reading kind of a cheesy title, but it's like, why do I keep forgetting it? The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I thought the title was kind of cringe, and it was a short read, so I was like, okay, let's crack this bad boy open. It seems pretty good. And I actually do like it. It parallels with all the stuff I'm reading or listen to. And that's kind of that the ultimate happiness is when you don't really care about happiness. Now, what I struggle to understand is if you're just completely satisfied with where you are right now, how do you go forward? Now, on the other hand, it's always those people that are satisfied that seem to almost attract all of that positivity, and for the people that just don't really care, it almost seems like they get what everyone else wants. So I'm trying to implement that and mess around with it. And it also kind of the key to happiness. Now, one other thing I saw, Brian Tracy, I read his Eat That Frog book. Probably read it. Love it. It was one of the first books I read when I was getting into reading. And I always reference it and go back to it, and it's one of those ones I'll probably keep reading forever. But he has a video, and his shit always pops up on my Instagram, and it's a video of him talking about sitting down for 30 to 60 minutes, no phone, no book, no notebook, nothing. Just sit by yourself in silence. Most people haven't done that in years. Maybe since they were a little kid. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make a video about it. But he says that when you're doing it, if you go into it with the intention of trying to solve a problem, the answer will come to you while you're sitting there. And that goes along with what I've been kind of noticing lately, which, by the way, my life is just almost like a fucking experiment with my brain. Like, all I'm doing is experimenting with my brain to find the best thing to do, which I think a lot of people are not intentional about. They're kind of just going for the low-hanging fruit, like drinking or partying, whereas I'm going for the more permanent and higher return on investment option, which is long-term gratification, which takes a lot of experimenting and learning and seeing what works. So, back to that was a tangent, but back to what I was saying. I'm just gonna eat this right now. It's this. The greatest ideas I come up with are not when I'm really busy. They're not when I'm doing something They're not when I'm stressed. Whenever I come up with good solutions and good ideas, it's always when I'm almost bored. It's not when I'm scrolling, maybe sometimes. But it's when my mind is kind of detached from everything else, and it's not being distracted whatsoever. You're kind of bored. That's when the best ideas pop into my head, and I'm like, okay, shit, I need to do that. For instance, I don't even know. It's just even little things. It's not even necessarily big, crazy solutions, but even little things like, oh, I should be doing this instead of that. All of those ideas pop into my head when I'm just bored, just sitting and thinking. And you can schedule that as well. You can be like, hey, this Friday, I'm gonna go sit during a sunset. I'm not gonna bring anything, and I'm just gonna sit there and think, and let your subconscious just kind of talk to you a little bit. You know, that's where the ideas come about. So try to practice that. Practice being lost in your subconscious and getting bored sometimes. Let yourself get bored. And that also means that you can't always just work, because that nothingness time is actually really important. And it doesn't have to necessarily be intentional. Sometimes it's just, you could be driving in your car, and instead of listening to music, instead of listening to music or listening to a podcast, you just turn all that off and you just think for a little bit. And that's almost what my videos are. It's almost me just thinking out loud and throwing it up on YouTube, which I think is cool. It's pretty authentic. But yeah, that's your action step, guys. I mean, that's what I do. When you get in the car and you've got 15 to 20 minutes, just don't play anything. Don't go on your phone. Don't think. Just drive and see where your mind goes.